I learn everything I need to know in 1 week? In this video, we're going to talk about what you can expect with the CFI Accelerated Training. I recently did a video, make sure you check that out, about CFI Accelerated Training. I did get my CFI by going to an accelerated training program, and I've had multiple questions about what that really entails, and I want to address some of those specific questions in this video. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel to get more information on flight training, flying, being a private pilot, all the fun things that you can do. I recently went to an accelerated CFI training course, and I want to talk about what that actually entailed. I want to reiterate that this was for the CFI. I have not been to an accelerated training program for the private or instrument, multi. Before you actually go, you will need to have both written exams completed, and your spin endorsement should have already been received and in your logbook. I made the reservation at the school weeks in advance, and I highly recommend you do that. The school has to plan the amount of instructors, the airplanes, so you must make a reservation. We had one instructor per student at this school, and I had one designated airplane for me during my time at this school. There were probably 10 other students there at the same time doing exactly the same thing or another type of accelerated training program. This school only does accelerated training. That's something I would look for. It needs to be someone that really has a tried and true curriculum. The program was a 7-day program. Talk about pressure. These are some of the key things that I wanted to point out about the actual training schedule when we were there. Number one, you're going to be given study materials or recommendations prior to you going. Probably started reviewing it a month before I left. I designated at least 2 hours a day, each day until I departed, sometimes more. That is going to be key to your success. The second thing I want to point out is that we flew once or twice, often twice a day, and each time we flew was about 2 hours of flying. So you're going to fly anywhere from 2 to 4 hours each day. The other time that we were not in the air, we were on the ground going over lessons, how they ought to be taught. My instructor would go over a particular topic with me, and then I needed to repeat that topic. The days are crammed full. We started at 9 a.m. I left somewhere around 5 p.m. each day. Even the evenings were fairly structured. There were things I needed to review and go over for the next day. While we were actually flying, I was taught the maneuver by the instructor, and then I had to reteach it. Going over and over the lessons, the verbiage that you're going to use, that was a huge part of the actual ground lessons and the flying time. It was basically private pilot maneuvers, and we did commercial maneuvers. The third thing I want to point out, we could also interact with some of the other instructors and get some of their opinions, their techniques that they use. We could also watch other students who were teaching. There was one classroom where we could go in and watch someone that was actually giving a lesson to someone else, which may seem very scary to some people that other people are watching you, but if you can get through that, then you can get through teaching anyone anything. The fourth thing I want to point out were that there were a lot of pop questions and a lot of discussions about the FARs. There are many FARs that you need to know as a CFI, become familiar with, and know where to find. The fifth thing I want to point out is that we did a mock check ride with a different instructor than we were actually being taught with, and they would basically sit there just like an examiner, ask you to do certain maneuvers, ask you to teach certain maneuvers, and ask you things on the ground as well. After we did the mock check ride, they did provide some feedback on things that they might do to improve the lesson. And number 6 finally was the check ride. That day was scheduled on day 6 for me. I had 5 full days of flying and lessons and maneuvers and going over and over and over all the different topics that could be covered, all the different maneuvers. The check ride itself was pretty self-explanatory. It's basically going to be you teaching maneuvers. They're going to tell you what you need to do, and you're going to teach it to them. I had maybe 5 or 6 ground lessons that I needed to teach. I probably had about 8 different maneuvers to teach. It took a little less than 2 hours of flying. It was actually closer to 4 of the actual ground. It was a good nearly 6 hours with that particular examiner. The school wants to get you through. They want to have a high success rate. They want you to be successful there, so they're not trying to delay your progress. Don't be afraid of trying an accelerated training program. If you have any other questions, please shoot me a message here, or you can look me up at flyGIRL Kelley on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Send me a message. You can also go to my website at flygirlllc.com. If you're short on time and you work well under a deadline, an accelerated training program may be perfect for you.